The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is April 8th, 2020, episode 186, and this week, COVID, CRISPR, CERN, and the virtual Panopticon. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, my name's Basil.
And this is Gonz, reporting from FEMA Region Number 9. We're live again on Facebook, YouTube, Canary Cry YouTube, Twitch, the Facebook page, and the Facebook community. Hope everyone's doing well and not getting cabin fever.
That's right.
And,
you guys, everybody should be so excited because all morning, Gonz has been jacked out of his mind on coffee.
I know. I got a little. I don't drink coffee usually, so when I get a little coffee in me, I'm like, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if it lasts. But you certainly
it's already fading. Yeah, it's already
the
fading.
Most energetic. I don't think it is. You get this coffee and you just can't stop, man. He's on a roll.
We'll see.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for watching live. A big old shout out to the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, the Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel. Hello everybody on Facebook, Periscope. We always get a couple tuning in on Periscope. And most importantly, my favorite people in the world, Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, you win the prize this morning. We are working very hard to dislocate ourselves. Well, to disconnect our well-being from the YouTube system. And if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else, consider heading over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We are building a little community over there and trying to hit partners so Gonz and I can keep feeding our little ones. Gonz's little humans and my little kitties.
Little humans.
Yeah. That's right. Go follow us on Twitch and watch it live there. If you can, you should watch it live on Twitch. Okay.
I'm working hard on my CRISPR technology, my CRISPR skills, so I can change those cats into humans, just so you can get that same.
You're trying to make my little fur babies into real babies?
Yes.
The problem is those real human babies, they're so expensive, A lot of upkeep.
They are expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of upkeep, yeah.
Easy to make. It's really the upkeep. That's where they get you.
Fun to make. Very, very fun to make. Okay, let's get into it.
You want to do a show?
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
You can't take the
CRISPR.
You can't take the
Cas9.
That's right. We've got a dual Flippy update and CRISPR update at the same time here. First of all, if you don't know, now you know. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We got to keep track of Flippy because all sorts of New World Order control mechanisms are being deployed through an innocent burger flipping robot. And today, Gonz, little combo. This is a triple threat. We have Flippy and CRISPR and COVID all wrapped up in the same story here. This is a story from Wired, and I'll just summarize it for you. The article is titled, How a CRISPR Lab Became a Pop-Up COVID Testing Center. Long story short, a CRISPR lab, CRISPR, as we know, for those who don't know, is the gene editing tool that has been making waves in recent years, creating all sorts of chimeric combinations of animals and plants and cells and humans and robots and all sorts of stuff. All sorts of problems wrapped up in that. But now this CRISPR lab had a glow up, Gons, as the Gen Zers call it. A glow up, a makeover. Yeah, I know.
Okay, a glow
I
up.
had to
All
learn
right,
it too. Glow up is the cool new way to say like a makeover.
Okay, that reminds me of the Beast system, or the Beast jingle that we have about the fashion. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, here it is.
Most modeling is kind of acting like a beast, but making it fashion. Beast. But then make it fashion.
Still a good jingle. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Into the story here. So there is a CRISPR lab, gene editing lab, that was recently converted into a COVID-19 testing facility. And just to pick out this article here for you, when Lin Xiao showed up to the first floor of the glistening glass IGI building the next day, he wasn't exactly sure what he was walking into. The once cramped lab space, usually used for gene sequencing projects, was now dismantled. People Lin Xiao had never seen before unplugged machines and wheeled them away. Others carted out boxes of chemicals. Within days, it would be filled with new equipment, towering glass-encased robots, a sterile hood for working with dangerous pathogens, and scattered across the tables, desks, and the floor, test tubes of every possible shape and size. It's here, less than 2 weeks later, that Lin Xiao and a dozen of fellow volunteers are now getting ready to begin testing their first patient samples for COVID-19. Towering glass-encased robots, Gons. The robots are making their way into taking over CRISPR labs and converting them into COVID testing centers. The robots, soon our scientists aren't even safe from the encroaching, apocalypse of robots taking all our jobs. So there you go, guys.
I'm surprised that they don't have the thermal scanners built in already, because they have the thermal scans at the burger joint where Flippy is flipping burgers, but the science lab with these robots, no mention of the.
You got to get your facial recognition for those scientists. You never know which ones will be androids trying to infiltrate. So there you go. As we've talked about before the show started, doing these shows every other day has made it a little difficult to have a consistent flow of Flippy updates. The world of robotics is not moving fast enough for us to keep doing these, shows every couple days. So these Flippy updates are going to keep getting a little bit more vague until something big happens.
But the other thing is that we can mention things that are happening or unfolding like real time. Like Bernie stepping down, big deal. I know you're really sad about that, Basil.
It's really sad. I am sad because I thought that a Trump v. Bernie election would just be such a, a clash of the titans, a clash of ideologies, almost entirely opposite, bipolar, radical ideologies.
I know you're too idealistic about the political. I'm looking forward to Joe Biden references hairy legs again, just at any moment.
Let me get this straight. Watching Joe Biden run will be just as entertaining. He's a very entertaining guy to watch. Poor old man doesn't know where he is all the time. But we all know that politics is a theater. It's a show. It's the theater. Circus for all us peasants to enjoy. And I just thought that the storyline of the socialist versus
the drama,
the wild rampant capitalist would have been a great storyline for history. But instead we get a scared old man
with hairy legs. Okay,
hairy legs.
We're gonna go into the COVID stuff.
Okay.
COVID. This is a happy story, I guess, if there are any happy stories amidst this quarantine. But I'm not surprised about this story. This is actually GhanaWeb.com. So we're going all over the world to get
going over
our
to
news.
Ghana. What's up to all our Ghana listeners and all our Ghana friends over there. I met a regional king in Ghana once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
It's
time
good.
traveler. Okay. How coronavirus inspired a gangland truce in South Africa. An unprecedented truce has broken out in the notorious crime-infested township around Cape Town as rival gang leaders stop their turf wars to bring food to households. With South Africa in the middle of a lockdown, many people in poor communities are struggling to buy the goods that they need. A virus and nationwide emergency may have achieved what the police and the army have failed to do. Instead of selling drugs and robbing people, rival gangs are bagging up food supplies for hungry families. There is relief here for sure that a ceasefire has taken hold during the lockdown, but it's hard to tell what people here really think about the men who have terrorized their neighborhoods for decades, and the authorities are skeptical. The temporary ceasefire offers the slither of a hope that the virus will bring lasting change to some of the most dangerous streets in the world. So there you go. It's part of the, I think this is good on a surface level in terms of these guys not fighting each other and they're helping their communities, which it's interesting because when you talk about like gangs and stuff, a lot of them are just caught in a really bad situation. They're born into a really bad environment and, you know, they do whatever they can to support their families and they get rolled into this type of thing. But it's good to kind of see that the disruption is at least stopping the violence there. But, you know,
it's interesting because it's nice. It's very heartwarming to hear this, gangs putting down their weapons, calling a ceasefire and helping out their communities. The concept of gangs is very interesting because especially when they're sort of neighborhood gangs or, they've got their turf. On one hand, they do. There is an idea. Now, look, I'm not an expert on gangs, so I could be completely talking out my ears here. But, there is an idea that, a gang has its turf and the people and things in their own turf, they're there to protect, or at least that's what some of them would say. But, if you're not on their turf, then you're up for grabs or you're the enemy or open to, all sorts of trouble. So I could see how in these times it would not be beneficial for them to fight, but instead to, do some community good, to go out there, do some volunteerism. I don't know much about South African gangs, but it seems like, if they're able to take let no crisis go to waste, go build some good PR in their neighborhood for them. We'll see, though. I don't know. If there's any South African gang members out there, go ahead and give us an email. Let us know the thinking behind this.
Yeah, the South Africa being a part of the world that has been, wrought with violence as well.
Yes.
A pretty hard area.
Notoriously violent place.
And also the hub, the location for the story Chappie. Do you remember that movie Chappie a few years ago?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a Johnny No. 5 remake, but a little, modernized or whatever.
Right.
That was all. The whole police robot thing was deployed in the movie in, I think it was a South African city there. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I guess
it's an interesting juxtaposition over there in South Africa because over there you got the gangs teaming up to help out their community, but in other parts of the world, narc culture is on the rise, Gons. This is an article from wallstreetjournal.com, WSJ. Coronavirus pandemic leads to shunning and shaming in small towns. Uh-oh.
Not good.
Do you have a full story of this? I'm locked out. Come on, Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, I actually don't.
Hold
I only
on.
have the...
Yeah, I've exceeded my free reading of Wall Street Journal. Hold on. You stall while I find a new version of this article.
All right. The subtitle of the article here is Virus Vigilantes Call Out and Report Neighbors They Suspect Aren't Strict About Social Distancing or Quarantine. And I guess my point, before Basil even gets into the story here, is this idea that the self-policing thing, the behavioral changes that this is causing, is exactly the scientific dictatorship, the virtual panopticon that we've talked about. I mean, this was one of the first ideas that I came into. I learned it from Derek and Sharon Gilbert very early on when they were doing PID radio and interviewed the Collins brothers. They had written a book. And just so people are aware what a panopticon is, if you don't know what it is, It's a prison system where you have a central watchtower. If you're looking at the screen, you'll be able to see the examples here. But basically, you have a tower in the middle, and then you have all the inmates in cells surrounding the tower.
It's sort of a philosophical idea of the perfect prison.
Right. Because the watcher, the person in the tower, can view all of the inmates, but the inmates don't exactly know what the watchtowers are looking at, or the fact that the watchtower can basically use their guns and shoot anybody who is not complying within the prisons or the prison cells. And then the idea of a virtual panopticon being that because of that tower in the middle watching everything, it's going to change our behavior.
And everybody will start policing each other as well.
Policing each other, yeah. Like, hey, cell 2 over there, better be careful. Eye of Sauron can shoot you at any moment. So that's kind of the idea.
And goodness gracious, I'm happy that MSN.com knows how to copy and paste, because they have copied and pasted the Wall Street Journal article. I dropped it in the doc there for you. Pandemic leads to shunning and shaming in small towns. Lake Forest, Illinois. Last week, William Zardani and his large family took their golden retriever, Sunshine, for a walk near their home in his leafy suburb north of Chicago as they waited out the coronavirus shutdown. That evening, a woman who lives a few blocks away posted a photo of Mr. Zordani, his mother, and 5 of his 6 siblings on their walk to the town's Facebook news site. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, their town has a Facebook news site, lambasting them for ignoring social distancing rules and endangering the community. Quote, "Why are people so stupid?" one commenter wrote in the screed that followed. Another chimed in, "Where are parents?" A third indicated she had forwarded the photo to the mayor. She sent the photo to the mayor. The shunning and shaming of Mr. Zordani and his family is happening across the country, but it is felt most acutely in smaller cities and towns where anonymity is rare, and people still hope to avoid the worst of the coronavirus pandemic. These virus vigilantes reflect the social strains on communities as the shutdown isolates neighbors and raises suspicion and fear. In rural Farmington, Minnesota, Larry and Annette Bremer were diagnosed with the virus last month. After Mr. Bremer tested positive, he gave the Minnesota Department of Public Health a list of 74 people with whom he had come in contact while he was contagious. After he recovered, he was cleared to go outside by doctors and went back to his office where he sells crop insurance. Then he ran some errands. Dun, dun, dun. The next day, he listened to a YouTube message from the county sheriff who explained that people who had the virus would be out and about. The community shouldn't worry. Mr. Bremer called the sheriff, who is a friend, and asked him if the comment had anything to do with him. Quote, he said, "Well, Larry, let's just say, I know you've been to your office, the Quick Mart and Hy-Vee," Mr. Bremer said. He added that he was eager to let everyone know he wasn't contagious and didn't feel bad about his neighbors reporting his travels.
Gosh.
"I don't think anyone is being malicious, but they're anxious. Some areas of anyways, it's a very long article. More or less, narc culture is popping off, everybody. You can do a search on YouTube, lots of videos of Karens running out and yelling at kids for driving their cars or whatever. This scares me a little bit because it's a little reminiscent. I mean, and I don't want to be alarmist about this, but it's pretty reminiscent of like report all activity. And let us know if your neighbors are hiding the Jews. It's very Nazi-ish. I don't like it.
It is. It's like a feudalistic fascist. Yeah. Well, I think this is it's also pushing us towards the surveillance state, but also that the AI surveillance state and the robot machine governing us. And it reminds me of Philip K. Dick, the robot version of Philip K. Dick. Remember what he said?
The robot version of no. What did he say?
"I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo."
That's right. Well, you know what I think this is also? I think this is an extension of cancel culture. You know, we've had this big problem with cancel culture. You know, somebody digs up something you said 20 years ago and suddenly your career and life are over. It's kind of the same thing. There's nobody to cancel anymore. Everybody's been canceled. So now we need to start narking out our neighbors. And this really comes from a lot of ignorance. Like this guy walking his dog with his family, he's allowed to be out there with his family, all the same people in the same household walking their dog, as long as they're not invading anybody else's space, they're allowed to do that. But people are paranoid, man. And it's because of the media making such a big deal about, well, everything, and exaggerating the data and exaggerating everything. It's got people all freaked out. Everybody's on their toes trying to put their neighbors in jail for enjoying their lives. I don't like it, man. This is we knew this was happening, but I think this is really important for all of us to be aware of, because it could be really tempting to do this, because you get your social points, you get your what is the word I'm trying to think of? Virtue signaling points for doing this, and you're really just buying right into the programming that you're being induced to every day. It's not cool. And if anybody listening to me right now is thinking about reporting people, nice innocent people walking their dogs, then if I can stop one person from narking out another innocent neighbor, then I think we've done our job, Gons.
Yeah, well, the face mask issue is going to become a thing too, as more people are walking around with that. When we go outside, it's it feels weird to not, if you're not wearing one, it feels weird. Everyone's wearing one. It's just one of the things
have you experienced that? I went out to the store yesterday, and I didn't bring a mask. I hadn't really realized it because I hadn't been out of the house in a while. But suddenly I was in the store and I was the only one not wearing a mask. I felt very judged.
There were people, living where I live in Southern California, people are taking the opportunity to display their fashion sense with the masks. It's getting quite elaborate out there. So interesting looks.
It's a good opportunity for people to express themselves. Before we move on, Gons, I want to take a chance. I'm going to plug again. If you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere, we're so happy to have you plugged in and catching the show live today. If you want to know what would really make Gons and I happy, we are being ferocious about trying to hit some goals over on twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. You guys answered the call, and we got a bunch of new followers, which is great. We've hit affiliate over there on Twitch, but because Gons and I are only essential employees of this podcast and nowhere else, we are being hit economically as well. And we are switching over to Twitch because they've got some great funding structures that we're trying to take advantage of, try to keep the kids fed. And here's the thing, YouTube and Facebook, they're just objectively evil, and we all know that. And I'm not saying Twitch isn't evil, but you got to get out from under the claws of the lizard people who rule Facebook and Google. Head over to Twitch, follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We're trying to hit our goals. Please follow us and watch the show on Twitch. That's also very important. If nothing else, click that link in the chat. Follow us on Twitch, watch the show on Twitch. It really helps us out, especially, if people aren't able to help us financially. This is a great way to support the show, and it's super easy. So thank you to everybody who follows us on Twitch. And please, this is a real earnest request. If you want to do Gons and I a huge favor, please go follow us on Twitch and watch the live video on Twitch. Thank you very much. One last thing. Before we continue, head over to canarycry.community. You're looking for another place where their free speech abounds, and you can get together with people who think just like you. You can have conversations without triggering people, and you can share, information that is unpopular and gets you banned from Facebook. A lot of the truth telling about COVID and all sorts of things will put you in Facebook jail. But over at canarycry.community, yes, a real URL, go there, sign up. There's no Facebook collecting your data, nothing like that, and it's a great place to interact with people just like you. And if you join while we're doing this live here, I'll give you a shout out on the show after I approve your request. So go please do that as well. Okay, on with the show, Gons.
All right. Let's see here. I don't have a jingle for this, but I do have a sound effect. Okay.
Whee!
Laser.
Lasers, bro.
This is yahoonews.com. Coronavirus furloughed CERN physicists release design for COVID-19 patient ventilator. And it says a group of physicists and engineers affiliated with CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, have developed a prototype ventilator designed for COVID-19 patients as health authorities in the U.S. and Europe scramble to treat those stricken by the respiratory ailment. The high-energy ventilator, the HEV, designed by 31 now furloughed CERN associates, is meant to address the particular needs of COVID-19 patients under long-term care and those in the recovery phase, according to a production proposal published by the team on Friday. This was last week. HEV was designed for easy manufacture and integration into hospital environments and is not intended to replace high-end devices needed for the most intense phase of treatment. The HEV team said that it had successfully tested the prototype's unique automatic buffering capability, which is needed to avoid damaging the lungs of COVID-19 patients. On March 27th, they're now seeking feedback to move quickly to development and deployment. So there you go.
Yeah,
CERN.
That's interesting. CERN, like it says there in the headline, was furloughing a lot of the scientists because, of course, there's more important things to do in the world right now than open up portals to other dimensions and set free all sorts of horrific beasts.
Right. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They need everybody out of the building. Go home. We're about to do the big summoning.
And this this is interesting because, of course, there's been a lot of companies and a lot of individuals and corporations and scientists and people working towards making fast, quickly manufactured and efficient ventilators because, of the supposed ventilator shortage. There was a PBS report recently, actually, which, total maximum, sort of left-wing news type of organization. Yeah. And they came out and had a report about how the doctors are afraid that they're killing more people with the ventilators. They're cranking up the pressure on those ventilators and blowing out people's lungs. And it's actually, there's a higher death rate of people on ventilators versus people off ventilators. Now, there's a lot of ways you can tweak that statistical data. But it was very interesting, especially coming from a left-wing source like that. Especially because it kind of came to Trump's defense as far as the ventilators go. It's very strange to hear the report.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird. It's just, I don't know. I'm hoping that there's nothing. Well, I know there's something more sinister in terms of like a spiritual thing going on, but in terms of like, people just using these ventilators and, sorry, blew up their lungs, died of COVID-19, add one to the list. Kind of, I don't know. That feels very wrong.
Yeah,
that they would use any kind of other excuse to add to the numbers. And I was thinking about this the other day because I was watching some news or just, glancing at some news. I'm not really watching it. But, they got the ticker going. They got the ticker of like the number of people who got sick and who have died and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking, change the metric, change the thing that they're using the metric on. Let's do the common flu. Let's do whatever. If they did that, the whole world will be freaking out about that, So there's just so much of the media being responsible for all the freaking out. But at the same time, I do think that there's something going on, something real in terms of, bioengineering and CRISPR and that kind of stuff. And that's why we've, went into that in this episode.
And before we go into some of the crazier stuff, on the topic of the ventilators and the recorded deaths, there's the conspiracy theorists, the weirdos have been out there, videoing hospitals and looking at the numbers of deaths and things like that. And it's been pretty known now, if you're woke enough, that they're counting every death in the U.S. as a coronavirus related death. Like they could die of a car crash, but if they, had come in contact with somebody with coronavirus, they counted a coronavirus death. And actually now this maybe you can real time fact check this, because I'm looking at an image on Facebook from Dr. Birx, the female sort of scientific partner of Fauci. It says here, Dr. Birx says that anyone who dies with coronavirus, regardless of any underlying health condition, is being counted as death from coronavirus. Quote, "We've taken a very liberal approach to mortality." So she kind of just comes right out and says, yeah, we're counting coronavirus deaths in kind of a funky way to get the numbers up. Are you able to? It looks like you're finding
article. An article on it. I think this is like a conservative outlet, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll kind of poke around to try to verify that. But yeah, it's been interesting, because that was something that a lot of people had been claiming. Obviously, the statistics, and when there's news stories, local news stories that come out about somebody who died from coronavirus, family members of that person is like, what the heck is this? He didn't die from coronavirus. He had congestive heart failure. He just happened to be in the hospital at the same time of coronavirus. So this has been coming out quite a bit. But to have a source say that Dr. Birx is actually confirming this should be a huge wake up call to all the normies and muggles out there. I mean, even non-conspiracy theorists. There comes a time when everybody's going to be waking up. I've been saying it this whole week, and it's going to happen.
It's like if they started a campaign to suggest that anyone with a tattoo is getting sick and dying, and then anytime somebody dies who has a tattoo, or anybody dies that happens to have a tattoo, they'll say, "Oh, look at that tattoo killed this man."
They died of tattoo. Yeah, right.
They died of tattoo. Okay, so let's get into. Hold on, I got to set up now. Now that you took
While
me
you
off
set
my
that
path.
up, I want to thank a few people for joining Canary Cry Community. We got Nancub, Pops, and Miss. What does that say? Mission Sweet. Thank you guys for joining the Canary Cry Community, and thank you to all you who have jumped over to Twitch, started watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. That is the best place to watch this show, and it helps us out a ton.
Cool.
You can't take the risk.
CRISPR.
You can't take the risk.
Cas9.
COVID.
All right. So we just talked about the CERN scientist, and the reason why this story connects to CERN, or at least that general location, is because of an organization called the World Health Organization, which has been in the news yesterday and today. This is CNBC.
The saviors.
The saviors. Trump blames the World Health Organization, for getting coronavirus pandemic wrong, threatens to withhold funding. And when I saw this, yesterday, I thought it was a pretty big deal. This is what I can understand, billions of dollars per year. And I think there was recently something that Congress passed. I think it was like $123 million to support WHO directly. So this is a lot of money in general. But it says here, President Donald Trump blamed the World Health Organization for getting every aspect of the coronavirus pandemic wrong and threatened to withhold funding from the international organization. They did give us a pretty bad play calling with regard to us. They're taking a lot of heat because they didn't want the borders closed. They called it wrong. They really called, I would say, every aspect of it wrong, Trump said at a White House press conference Tuesday. The WHO, the United Nations Health Agency, started sounding the alarm on the outbreak of a new coronavirus in Wuhan, China in mid-January, designating the COVID-19 pandemic as a global health emergency on January 30th, when there was just 8,200 cases in 18 countries across the world. The coronavirus has since wreaked havoc across the globe, spreading to more than 1.4 million people and killing more than 81,000, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. So you get the idea here, and I guess it's a threat, okay? But if he does that, that's a lot of changing in terms of the money being piped around here. And the WHO, the World Health Organization, is the United Nations arm, which is tied to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the vaccine side of the conversation. All that stuff, they're all tied together. So what do you think's going on here? What's the big play? Because this is
I don't know, man. This is
two
crazy.
authorities.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially given the current situation and the sort of idolization of the WHO right now, World Health Organization, for those who are just tuning in. This, if he was just doing this randomly, I mean, this is political suicide. I mean, of course, we all know that there was some mishandling and some blame getting pushed around at the beginning of this, especially when Trump shut down travel from China. Of course, he was racist, et cetera, et cetera. But turns out that might have actually been a huge benefit to the whole thing. But the WHO just fighting him on everything. But, they are considered the global keepers of health. I mean, they're the ones saving the world right now. And, even if he had some sort of problem with the WHO, which of course he does, to threaten to pull funding is the craziest political suicidal move he could pull. Yet it makes me think that something huge is going on. I don't think that anybody would do this unless, the risk analysis of going against the WHO right now really was accomplishing some humongous goal or some huge part of some plan or something, because that is wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is where, the concept of a scientific dictatorship, the conversation really has to take place. I've seen a lot on Twitter, people saying like, who made Bill Gates boss? Where are all these people all of a sudden talking about vaccinations and digital IDs and all that kind of stuff? And if you really think about it, the UN being here in the United States, nobody voted to have, any kind of, whatever it may be, 5G towers or the UN, council in certain cities and stuff like that. We didn't vote for any of that stuff, yet they're here. Right. So I can understand sort of the infiltration aspect there, but at the same time, is the cleanup job part of the plan? That's kind of the thing where it's like, okay, we're cleaning up some stuff and maybe we're nationalizing some things, which may be okay, but are we ready for the switch? It's a pretty big it's a pretty big change of bridges of supply flow and all that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of things that can get disrupted if Trump really does squash any connection with the WHO, which is, again, it's sort of the world of the UN, the world of the vaccines, and the whole New World Order apparatus. That's part of what the WHO is and all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, and it's
really
interesting. It's super interesting because what this reminds me of when Trump pulled out of the Paris Accords, the climate change agreements.
Right.
And people freaked out because, of course, us not sending billions of dollars to other countries so they could, whatever they do with it. Of course, that's just the most evil possible thing. And he's single-handedly drying up the oceans and frying all of our forests because he doesn't want to give billions of dollars to other countries. This is similar to that. I mean, I have not yet gotten the chance to look into what the response has been to this, but it's just going to be more hate. It's going to be wild. It sure is an exciting thing to watch. I'll say that much.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we can go on to the next story here, which is related to this. It's under the whole idea of the World Health Organization, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the whole idea of CRISPR, the whole apparatus here. This is a story out of, hold on, let me see. Oops, sorry, chat on the screen. Here we go. This is Pharma News Intelligence or Intel.com. GSK Ver use CRISPR artificial intelligence to find COVID-19 cure. GSK, well, I guess I'll just read the article here. GlaxoSmithKline and Ver Biotechnology recently announced a collaboration to enhance COVID-19 drug discovery through the use of CRISPR and artificial intelligence. And the partnership will initially focus on accelerating the development of specific antibody candidates using Ver monoclonal antibody platform technology and GSK's expertise and functional genomics. Ver, I'll get into some technical stuff here. The companies will also use CRISPR screening and artificial intelligence to uncover anti-coronavirus compounds that target cell host genes. They're going to use machine learning and all that kind of stuff, all the biotech stuff that's out there. Now,
Yeah.
I wanted to do a brief digging into a couple of these companies, the partnership here. GlaxoSmithKline, most people are familiar with GSK, who have done any kind of research into, the vaccine conversation and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just because they're
Huge
one
players.
of the biggest,
One of
huge
the
player.
biggest
They're the ones.
corporations in the world.
Yeah, and they distribute. I did have a website linking or showing how much they distribute in terms of vaccines here. This is it right here. If you're looking at the screen, us.gsk.com, and in that or on that page, they mention our marketplace. And it says vaccination is recognized worldwide as one of the best investments that any government or healthcare organization can make. In 2012, the WHO, World Health Organization, and its 194 members states published an action plan on vaccination to extend access to immunization to everyone in the world. Ooh, whoop-de-doo. Promote innovation in the vaccines industry and prevent millions of deaths. So there's your connection there with the WHO for this first company, GSK. And then the second company here, the company they partnered with, Ver. Okay, this one's really interesting as well because this is another biotech company. We are developing a broad portfolio of product candidates that are designed to combat serious global infectious disease in entirely new ways, creating medicine that will have a meaningful impact on people around the world. And on this page, they have their pipelines, which basically outlines, where they're getting some of their information or whatever, the people they're teaming up with. And no surprise here with under HIV and TB, they have Bill and Melinda Gates as collaborators. So there you have it. The two companies that are being brought into the picture as being, they're going to save us. They're going to help us find cures. The science team that are going to find the cure. Both involved in the giant New World Order establishment apparatus arm, the whole deal.
I know.
So no surprises, but just showing the evidence.
The whole Gates thing is driving me nuts, even more every day. Of course, we all know that that's super sketchy, but it's another situation of like, well, the guy's rich, so he must know everything and know what's best for us. I mean, he doesn't have medical training. He's not a doctor. He's not, whatever. Not that would necessarily make us trust him more. But for some reason, he is just like, well, he's rich and he gave us all computers, so we must listen to him, do whatever he says, and get his vaccines and his mark, or else we're just gonna have to opt out of society. It is crazy to me that just because he's one of the richest guys in the world, that the whole world is looking to him to solve this problem. It's pretty whack, and I want to know, where is Bezos in all this thing? Have you heard much about Bezos recently?
I think he's quietly setting up the other part of the infrastructure for the mark of the beast here, the buy-sell part. No one can buy or sell. No one can get anything without their drone deliveries. And
yes, your Amazon Prime,
deliveries.
You have to get your nano dot vaccine tattoo in order to keep Amazon Prime. That would get some people on board, I think.
Yeah. I do want to mention along that sentiment, Aaron and Melissa Gates, or not Gates, that was Dykes, not Gates. Sorry, guys. Over at Truth Stream Media, they published a video called "Look Who's Coming to the Rescue," and they outlined the whole Bill Gates situation. And I appreciated them clipping a segment of a video that I made last week about the Microsoft patent, mining cryptocurrencies with your body and brainwaves. And kind of disappointed that not a whole lot of people checked out that video on the YouTube channel, but and they repeat over and over again in this video, just for kicks, that and remind the audience about Bill Gates getting hit in the face with a pie, way back in the day. And it's just one of those things where you just want to remind yourself, but at the same time you might think, hey, maybe this is the kind of thing that drove this man to be even more,
Bill Gates,
not evil, but just
pies
like
to the face for decades. Do you know why?
So anyway.
Why did somebody hit him in the face with a pie? Was that related
I don't
to
know.
vaccines, or they just didn't like computers? What was the deal?
Yeah, maybe it's part of the whole psyop, the whole creating division, the divide and conquer type of situation. We got to create a bad group going up against these tech leaders.
Do you think it was a false flag? He false flagged pied
false
himself?
flag pie attack. Yeah, exactly.
False flag pie attack.
Yeah, they knew they can't do the same
flag.
kind of stuff. Yeah, they can't pull off. It's harder to pull off the big false flags, so they went with the pie, the cream.
Yeah, they thought about
Soft
staging an
cream pie.
assassination, but he chickened out and went for the pie.
Yeah, I see someone in Twitch saying that this is old news about Bill Gates. Yes, we know. This is super old news, but it's just a reminder that it's
very long time ago that he got pied in the face. But it's just fun to watch, everybody.
Yeah, a good reminder of the situation.
Speaking of Twitch, I'm seeing a lot of Twitch in the chat. I'm very proud of everybody heading over to Twitch and watching live on Twitch, getting in the chat on Twitch. This helps us out a whole bunch. I know cash can be strapped for a lot of people. It certainly is for us. And so if you're unable to support the show financially, a great way to support the show is to go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, make an account, follow us, and watch the stream live on Twitch. That's we're trying to get those numbers up so we can get partner. You guys helped us get affiliate, which is huge, and we're so happy about that. Just to give just as some numbers, we need to average 75 people watching on Twitch at the same time. There are over 500 people, over 600 people watching live right now on YouTube and across the board. Guys, if 10% of you go over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, follow and watch live on Twitch, we can do this. And we need you. You're sitting there, you're on YouTube, you're thinking, okay, Basil, stop hounding me. Somebody else will go follow you on Twitch and shut you up. No, you, dear listener, you, dear viewer, yes, you, not the other one, you need to go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Go watch the show there. We just need 75 average viewers. That is super easy. So please be a part of that. It's part of our way of supporting ourselves when we hit partner over there. And just think about this. The more people follow us on Twitch and help us out there, the less that I have to beg for donations, okay? We got kids to feed. It's the reality of the situation. We are essential employees of only this podcast and nothing else. So all of our income comes from the different, first of all, very generous donations from people on Patreon. But if you can't do that, if that's not you, it is, please make it your responsibility to go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And I'll take the opportunity. I saw some people actually chatting in there wondering how they can help us out monetarily. You can go to patreon.com/CCNT, like Canary Cry News Talk. Patreon.com/CCNT. We got all sorts of rewards going on over there. We got bonus episodes. It's a great way to help us out. Remember, we're just as strapped as everybody else, so we understand if you can't do that, but that really means the world to us, and it's the only way we're able to keep doing this show, especially as often as we are. We're kind of getting used to this Corona life every other day doing a show. But to keep that going, we need your guys' help. This is a value for value model. We don't run ads. We don't sell your attention to corporations for our own monetary gain. But because of that, if you get value out of the show, please consider helping out by becoming a patron, patreon.com/CCNT, or at the very least, go follow us on Twitch and watch the show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Okay.
Just as a information for people out there too. Sometimes we talk about not having ads on the show, and then you might see an ad like splice in
on
either on the YouTube channel,
yeah.
usually on YouTube. Yeah. And the point being that we're not going after, or we're not advertising things. Like, we're not sitting here pitching other people's stuff. Like, that's kind of the whole idea of not advertising.
Right.
We can sit here and start accepting money from companies to like shill you guys whatever, I don't know, Shamu or something.
ShamWow.
We don't want to do.
ShamWow. And for Shamu, you said Shamu. What if we were on here advertising for Shamu, the whale at SeaWorld? Just casually
we would get in a lot of trouble.
Getting
just,
that sweet Shamu
auctioning off
money.
Shamus. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we got a Nephilim update today. We haven't had one in a while here, but here we go.
Yeah, hit me with that Nephilim update, baby.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
WLTZ.com, evidence of ancient rainforests found in Antarctica. Says here, CNN, reliable source, rainforests in Antarctica. Why am I messing up that word? Researchers say that may have been the case tens of millions of years ago. According to a study published on Wednesday in the journal Nature, there is evidence that Antarctica supported a swampy rainforest 90 million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the Earth. The planet was much warmer at the time, included at the South Pole. Researchers were able to pull a sample of sediment core near the Pine Island of Thwaites glaciers in 2017. CT scans of the sediment revealed pristine samples of forest soil, pollen, spores, and even root systems so well preserved they could identify cell structures. Authors of the study say this evidence is surprising because it shows that even during months of darkness, rainforests were able to grow in Antarctica, showing a warmer climate than expected. So there you go. The ice layer over Atlantis is melting, Basil.
Yes,
Atlantis is rising again.
All the the secret Nazi bases are thawing out.
Or the ice wall, whatever cosmology you happen to have is also.
I know.
Maybe there's
I wonder what
world
the flat
beyond.
earthers are saying about the Antarctic jungles. We gotta check in on them.
We also have the entrance to the Hollow Earth theory.
Oh my gosh, my favorite theory.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of stuff that this alludes to, but that concludes our little Nephilim update.
There you go, Nephilim update. Yeah, I miss the Nephilim updates. We all do. And here's the thing. You guys have been doing such a good job jumping over to Twitch. I'm going to give some shout outs because people are popping into the Twitch channel and making it known that they jumped over from YouTube. You got Tylo Ben came over from YouTube. Mission Sweet came from YouTube. Captain Kook came over from YouTube. Yeah, boy, 2. Solid Liono. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much. This means a whole lot and goes a very long way to keeping the show going. If you haven't done it yet, go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. All the cool kids are doing it. It is popping off over there. And we're taking money straight out of YouTube's pockets. No need to give YouTube any credit for what we're doing here. And and if you're on Facebook, I know some people are watching on Facebook. If you're there, you should go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome. What do you think, Gons? How are we doing on time? How are we doing on stories? What do we got?
We're technically out of stories for the day.
There's always more stories.
There's more stories. There's something we can mention. I guess we'll do it since we're wrapping up here. But there is a story. I don't really know. I don't have a jingle for it necessarily. But New York Times, meet the Xenobots, virtual creatures brought to life. Computer scientists and biologists have teamed up to make a new class of living robotics that challenges the boundary between digital and biological. And anyone familiar with the stuff we've been doing, especially on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, this is totally one of those moments where you sit down with friends, family, you send them the link to the story, and you tell them, I tried to tell you, I can't find the sound.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, yeah, we talked about this. This is the robot mixed with it's the frog stem cells that they basically used to make robots. And we reported on this a couple of days ago, and they are going full steam ahead getting that going. That's kind of disturbing because it's a biological robot, which we've talked about a lot in the past, and maybe we'll do an update here coming up. But it's kind of the next step in robotics because biological material is much more adaptable in certain situations. And, there's been a lot of talk about the nanobot thing being released into the public. There's been some theories including chemtrails and water supplies and things like that. using nanotechnology to infiltrate the population. And I think that this xenobot thing is has a lot of potential in that area, because I mean, you make a robot out of biological material, it's much more easily programmed to endure in biological circumstances.
Yeah, and in this New York Times article, it says these are all programmable organisms called xenobots, the creation of which was revealed in a scientific paper in January. They are named for the African clawed frog Xenopus laevis, which supplies all their cells, and the suggestion encapsulated in the prefix that something strange, alien, is at work. And for those of you watching the screen here, as you recall, January 15th, 2020, episode 172, Basil of Canary Cry News Talk, Frog Bot Immortal, and my first mind control. We addressed this. They look like little teeth or something, little molars.
Yeah,
if you remember. Yeah.
Yes, creepy little frog molars.
We did cover it, but it's moving quicker than expected. So there you have it.
I just did a quick search because I was really curious what Jeff Bezos has been up to. Now, this was from a month ago, so this isn't necessarily breaking news, but this is an article on India TV News, which is really weird why this is there. But it says Jeff Bezos helping White House fight coronavirus, Donald Trump, et cetera, et cetera. Talks about Jeff owning the Washington Post and offering his help to Donald Trump in the White House. And let's say Trump on Monday said White House officials are in touch with Bezos. The quote being, "I've heard that it's true, but whoa. Sorry, computer freak out. Virtual reality getting in the way. Here we go. I've heard that it's true, but I don't know that for a fact. Some of my people, as I understand it, have been dealing with them or with him, and that is nice," said Trump during the White House coronavirus briefing. "We have had tremendous support from a lot of people that can help, and I believe he was one of them." So Trump not really giving Bezos a lot of credit in that one.
No.
Oh, man. This article says this article is written when only 81 people had died in the U.S. of coronavirus. That's an old one. Sorry about that.
Yep. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Before we end it here, I do want to give a quick shout out to a few people here. For the Face Like the Sun Patreon, thank you guys for pitching in. Notchback, Tana, Sambkf, I don't know how to pronounce that. And Sasha and Rob R, thank you guys for supporting the Face Like the Sun channel. And then also Canary Cry News Talk, some people showing up.
Thanks, guys.
In the CCNT Patreon. Brian, it looks like Sasha is in there too. I wonder if this is the same Sasha. It looks like it. Thank you, Sasha, for supporting us on multiple platforms.
Thanks, Brian.
And then
Thanks,
also
Sasha.
Valerie and Elizabeth for upping her support. And Gary. Oh, good old Gary. That's our buddy, Gary.
You know, it makes me feel really warm and fuzzy when current patrons increase their pledge. That really means a lot. So thank you to Valerie, Elizabeth, and Gary for increasing your pledge over on patreon.com. We hope you enjoy all the bonus stuff over there. And here's the thing, folks. Again, you know, these are hard times for everybody. You know, I know you hate hearing me talk about donations and asking for help, but, you know, we have to do it. That's what Gons and I have to do to survive right now. So if you get any value out of the show, if you're educated or entertained or edified or whatever it is, whatever you tune in for, maybe you've listened to one episode, maybe you've listened to 10, maybe you've listened to 185. Whatever the number is, if you've gotten any value out of the show, we do humbly ask that you go to patreon.com/CCNT and sign up to support. If you've got an extra $5 a month, it is a huge benefit to us. And I know you're sitting there, you're thinking, oh, good, he's being so sincere. Somebody else will go do it. I'm telling you, they're not. They're not doing it. So if you got a couple bucks to spare, please help us out. And if you don't like Patreon, that's cool. We understand a lot of people don't like Patreon. So you can go to Canary Cry Radio .com/support. And there's a bunch of other ways to support there. Again, that's canarycryradio.com/support. We got PayPal. We got, I think we can take some cryptocurrency, whatever you guys can do to help out. That would be great. And if you're not able to help out financially, we totally understand. These are hard times. We're feeling it too. And a great way to support the show in ways you could not even understand is if you are watching right now on YouTube or Facebook or Periscope, wherever you're watching, you can switch over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, simply following the show there and watching it live on the Twitch channel is the best and easiest way to help us out if the financial donation is not for you. And we totally understand. Remember, folks, we're getting a lot of video views. Doing the live videos has been really great for us. But remember, we've been doing these podcasts on any podcast catcher for years, almost a decade now. So there is a ton of other material waiting for you that you can't get on YouTube or any other platform. Go to your favorite podcast player, whether it's Stitcher or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and search Canary Cry Radio and Canary Cry News Talk. Subscribe and follow there. And one last big one, again, if we understand if financially supporting us is not the way to go for you right now, leaving a rating and a review on iTunes is actually huge for us. It tells the iTunes artificial intelligence robots to share the show with other people. So as many ratings and reviews on iTunes as we can possibly get is a huge benefit for us, especially during these times when people are looking for outlets and content creators and yada, 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 looking for the truth. The more ratings and reviews that we have on iTunes, the more people are going to be able to find the truth. So again, we've got over 500 people watching live. If those 500 people went to iTunes or your favorite podcast player and left, preferably a 5-star review, but not asking anybody to lie if you're not a fan. But if you leave a 5-star review and a 5-star rating and then type in some words, tell people why you love the shows so much, that goes a very long way to helping us build our sort of corona infrastructure here. So please do that. Again, there's over 500 people watching live right now. If all those people went and left a rating and a review, we would climb to the #1 top of the chart on iTunes. If everybody did that at once, that would be just a dream come true. But so if you're looking for ways to help out the show, get involved, do all that kind of stuff, follow us, watch us on Twitch, and leave us iTunes rating and reviews. And one last one, okay?
Wait, before you move on.
Okay, yeah.
For the Twitch people, Twitch people there,
yeah.
You can come up with, if you don't have a Twitch account, you can come up with one, and you can come up with cool names for your handle. For example, the one I liked was Susan_Wojcicki_YouTube, and she's the CEO of YouTube.
Wow, the CEO of YouTube is
joined us on Twitch.
And she says,
so there you go.
Susan Wojcicki YouTube on Twitch says, please stop switching from YouTube. Very funny. Thank you, whatever user that is. And just to call out a couple more people switching from YouTube, we got Jenny B83 switching over. Thank you very much. Who else we got here? Oh, RRL30, thank you for switching over. Chill077 came here from Facebook. Gosh, you guys are the great. You guys are the greatest. I see a couple people telling us to enable our donor on Twitch. We will be doing that, and that's why we need to get more viewers, so we can enable our donations. What are you doing?
Sorry, someone's at the door. I got a doorbell.
Oh, somebody's at your door. Okay, sorry. Let's see. Oceana56, thanks for popping over to Twitch from Facebook. You guys are the best. Okay, Gonz is checking his door. So just to remind everybody, you can go to patreon.com/CCNT. If you want to give financially, that is fantastic. But there's tons of other ways to support us. And, we're just trying to build mainly that Twitch thing. Again, we need to have 75 average viewers for the next 30 days or something. To make partner, we will be enabling all sorts of fun tools on Twitch. It gives us a lot of great ways to interact with you during the shows. And actually, I can't believe I didn't mention this. We will be playing some video games. You see me with my virtual reality headset on here. We've been tracking virtual reality and augmented reality, not just for entertainment and gaming, but all the ways that it's making its way into society. And that, it's being used for pain relief for people getting surgery. It's being used for virtual travel for people who can't leave their house. It's also being used for employment and controlling robots across the world for surgical purposes, as well as getting disabled and elderly people back to work, controlling robots from their homes, which is very interesting. But there's also been a little bit more sinister things that we see tying into transhumanism and a lot of the sort of end times topics that we talk about. VR is snaking its way into a lot of stuff. So we will also be playing games, video games, on our Twitch channel. And maybe you're not interested in that, but here's the thing. There's a lot of elite messaging going on in games. I'm a gamer.
That's all kids do now, too.
Yes.
Well, I'm a retired gamer.
During this coronavirus thing, the gaming industry is blowing up. And if you have kids, you know that they are gaming all day long. If you are not a gamer, you know a gamer. And so tune in to our Twitch channel, because we're going to be playing games and analyzing the messaging in these games and just what kind of programming and content is being displayed, sometimes sort of subconsciously, to the people playing these games. And it's important, even if you're not a gamer, if you know a gamer, if you're wondering what your kid is looking at all day, we're going to be analyzing that for all the same weird technocratic and prophecies, mystery religions, secret societies, control mechanisms that are being propagated through games. And that's, it's a service. We're doing a public service. So another reason to go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Tune in and see what's going on. Okay, everybody, that's enough rambling for me today. Gonz, are you ready to go?
Just a quick reminder, in case people forget how to support us.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
There you go.
That's right, everybody. Make sure to head to CanaryCryRadio.com/support. And here's the thing. There's a bunch of you out there, and you're tuning in. You got the heads up on all the stuff that's going on, the real analysis of things going on in the world today. But you got friends, you got family, you got people who are still getting their news from the mainstream and also their Facebook feed, and that is just a crying shame. So you need to walk right up to those people, grab them by the cage, and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, folks. You need to tell them where to go to get their stuff. Go ahead and share any episode of Canary Cry News Talk out to your Facebook feed, your friends, your family. Let them know where to be. And remember, patreon.com/CCNT to support and twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio to get our numbers up there. We appreciate it, everybody. Make sure to tune in next, Friday. We'll be streaming on Friday, 2 days, folks. But until then, remember to think outside the cage.
Stop this progress before it is too late!
We should invite fewer people to be born.